Um, I'll probably give another 2 minutes for people to join in, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Can anyone confirm if you can see the screen? Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
That's great. Okay, I think it's good time to get started, and then others can join in the meanwhile. First of all, good afternoon, good morning to wherever you are in different parts of the world. Thanks a lot for joining this one. So this is a discovery series that I'm hosting from Adelaide. So I lead the Adelaide community chapter, and this is a small community of around 10 people. We started last year. So once I moved to Adelaide, I saw that we really need to grow this community in this city. So that's where I got started, and we are almost like 10 people now working online and offline, sharing our ideas, insights, etc. And it's a beautiful city. So any of you who plan to visit here, just reach out to me, and I'll be happy to share the itinerary, talk to you, catch up over coffee, etc. Moving on. So as I said, this is a discovery series that we are doing for next 3 days. The first session is on building the foundation, which is on the discovery and value assessment with Automation Hub. I'll be the speaker today. Tomorrow, we are doing another session on unlock automation insights with UiPath process mining, which would be done by Pranav Kashyap. And then the third day is task mining, which is the insights from human actions, which would be taken by Akhil. And unique thing about this discovery series is that we have got UiPath MVPs conducting these sessions across the globe. So I'm in Australia. Pranav is based in India, and Akhil is in US. So thanks to both of them to come and join this community and share their ideas. So yeah, that's the series, and I would probably share the link of the series so that if you have not registered for other sessions, feel free to register from your end. I'll put that link on the chat so that you don't miss the next few days. Yeah. And we'll make this session very, very interactive. I just want that we all should learn from each other. So yeah, that's what the agenda would be. I'm just popping the link for everybody. So as I said, the session that we are doing today is more on the Automation Hub, how we actually discover, use Automation Hub from the assessment point of view. How do we do cost benefit analysis? And I did a similar session last year, and then that was the focus. That's the reason I'm doing a more elaborative session this year to focus more on the admin console. So that's how we will probably talk about it for 30 minutes. And then we'll also have a quiz at the end of the session. So I'll bring those agenda points. Talking about myself, so I am a manager with Roboyo, which is it's a process automation company based in Australia, and it's actually a German company where we've got an Australian practice, and I'm working with multiple customers across geographies to help them on the process automation journey. In terms of my expertise, I take care of discovery from process assessment, from opportunity assessment, pre-sales part of the business, etc. So that's what I'm working on. Roboyo is a diamond partner for UiPath, and I work with that particular company. Moving on, so for the agenda, what we will be focusing today is I'll be introducing the UiPath agentic framework. So this is something which you might have seen coming fresh, talking about different aspects, and I want to talk about it so that I can make you understand how discovery tools are tied into that particular platform. We'll talk about some of the challenges that we face in the idea management process. And then I'll also come up with some of the experience that I have seen and how we actually mitigated it. So we'll be talking about that. I'll give us a quick introduction. Want to spend more time on the actual tool and less on the slides. So that's what we will do, a quick introduction. We'll talk about some of the benefits that we get when we are using Automation Hub. Then I'll move on to the actual tool, showcase the different modules and how we use all those modules. And as I said, we'll move on to a quick quiz and we've got a surprise gift and vouchers for the one who would be the winner. So I'll talk about it. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a few questions that we can ask everybody to share. So quickly moving on. As I said, we'll make it interactive. So just wanted to bring up this icebreaker about what if you had a digital assistant that you could automate one thing, and what would be that one thing? Anybody wants to raise hands, share it, put it on the chat, anything is welcome. And we are looking at agents, agentic automation as everywhere. So I think it's really important to understand as a business analyst, as a developer, or as a solution architect, what we actually want the agent to really automate it, or a digital assistant to automate for us. Anybody wants to share? Okay, I'm just reading a few chats saying interpret robot logs and suggest what we can improve in terms of process logging. Yeah, that's so important in terms of when you have to troubleshoot, etc. That's a good one. Complete end-to-end process for AP invoices. Yeah, I think AP invoices one of the process I've seen with most of the companies. It's like very manual, and if we can ask agents to do that, yes, that's a big good pick. A knowledge assistant, yes. User onboarding, great. Yes, Paulina, answering email and managing schedule. Yeah, that's the daily thing that we want to really automate. Let the conversations keep going, and then let's move on to the next topic. Well, that's interesting to know, Michael. You have a personal assistant. That's really good. Anybody who wants to share after this call some of their personal assistants, etc., that can help others, that would be great. Okay, so as I said, let the conversations keep going. Feel free to raise your hand and then speak up. So it's all permitted during the session. So as I said, this is the UiPath agentic framework. Because we have very limited time, we'll not talk about everything. We would in fact come up with agentic discovery series also in upcoming months. So that's where the focus would be completely agentic discovery, etc. But from a standpoint of where the tools that we are talking about in next 3 days, which is Automation Hub, process mining, and task mining, they actually fit into the process intelligent bucket of the entire platform. And that's where we want to weave all of that together to say that it's very much part of the agentic framework prescribed by UiPath. So some of the challenges that I have seen in the industry. I would say I have worked with different customers across the globe in their discovery for last almost 7 years. And this is one of the things I have seen that, if you have not managed your pipeline correctly, there is a huge risk of actually getting failed if you have not set the right foundation of where you want to get started, how you move on the automation journey, if you don't really understand how much is the ROI, etc. So this is very important to understand why you need a proper idea management tool. And what happens is sometimes team members do not know where to share their ideas. Some of the companies are managing that in Excel. I have seen that, but that Excel remains very, very siloed and it's not shared across the organization. So that's something where you can't track where the idea is, who's owning it, etc. And with my experience, I worked with one of the customer. They really failed in creating a process backlog, which means they started with one process and it took them a couple of months to just work on that process. And in that time, when you're working on one process, they did not create that backlog. And then once the process was complete, they didn't have anything. So I would say it took almost 8 months for them to think that they have already passed that stage of bringing up new ideas. So it's very important to have a healthy pipeline, and that's where Automation Hub really provides a lot of value. Moving on, Automation Hub is a great platform where everybody can collaborate in the organization. So I was working with one of the customer recently where it was a fresh start for them. So a lot of team members had ideas. So we could bring all of them in one platform. We know who's an IT manager. We know who's a business SME, who is the sponsor. So everybody knows everyone so that it's very easy to get a visibility in the organization and get things started. So these are a few things why we really need to have a good COE or a process management tool. That's where UiPath is a great tool to get started, which means it allows you to collect and manage ideas. That's a term known as crowdsourcing, which means that you really want to bring a different idea, different pipeline from people who are really working on the ground. So if you're talking about people like a business analyst coming into picture or a COE coming into picture, I would say the real people who understand what is happening is people who are working on the ground. So getting those ideas out from them is the most important thing. So Automation Hub is a very intuitive platform, very easy to understand, which any employee can actually use to share their ideas. You can manage your idea pipeline. You can also look at different change requests that you can manage centrally. So that's a wonderful thing that it's a centrally managed platform to ensure that it really meets your business needs. Also, with Automation Hub, you can not just post your ideas, you can also evaluate ideas in terms of how much is the automation potential, what is the ROI, with a detailed assessment that is provided to the employees. So that's a wonderful, I would say, feature that can be leveraged. So I personally have presented business cases with the help of Automation Hub, where I go add all the basic information about the process in terms of volume, turnaround time, etc. And it gives you a score and a benefit that would be provided in terms of dollar value, in terms of the hours that you can present as a business case to the management. So those are some of the things. It's a one-stop place where you can host different documents. There are built-in dashboards that you can use to showcase to the management. So yeah, I'll just keep on reading a few things on the chat. Do employees need a license to log opportunities in Automation Hub? So Michael, I have one slide on that from a licensing perspective. So Automation Hub is available in some parts of the automation cloud, etc. So I'll talk about it. But once you have got this application Automation Hub, then it can be provided to anybody in the organization. So that's one thing which we can actually create a URL for the organization as a tenant, and then you can provide that. So it's not instance based. It's just a license for the entire organization.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you have got 1,000 employees, for example, you don't have to pay for each license that you give it to your employees. Once you've paid, it's for everybody in the organization. Talking about some of the benefits about this tool, I've already spoken about some of them, but I'll quickly touch upon some which I have not really spoken about. So it's a centralized management. As I said, it's a central repository where you can see idea starting from when somebody submits to, in fact, go live. So it's a complete management of each stage of your idea. You can prioritize your ideas effectively because you have attached certain KPIs to see whether it's a value add into the organization. And honestly, I think it's very important to understand if you're getting some value out of it in terms of dollar value, because you are investing in the developers, you're investing in licenses, etc. So if you can understand that value, it's very important for you to also pick this idea and show it to the management. I think we already spoke about the cost benefit analysis because that's a built-in feature. Automation feasibility calculation, which means that this tool also says about how ready this process is to be automated, whether it's feasible in terms of, if it's a, I would say, old application, if it is unstructured, structured data. So it'll tell you in a way that, whether you should really improve your process first and then automate, or it's readily available to automate. There are certain reporting tools coming out of this particular application. So you've got dashboards that you can use. So I will talk about all of this when I'll be showcasing that particular application. Very important feature which I wanted to talk today is the flexibility. So you've got flexibility to customize assessments because we know that every industry is different, every team is different. So you can actually customize most of the aspects in this particular tool. Going to the same question which Michael asked, that this is very accessible tool. So you share a link with anybody in the organization, and it's like a ready to go automation hub solution for most of the employees. It doesn't have to be too much of software installations, etc. This tool is also integrated with Jira. So if you've got a ticketed management system within your organization, you can use that integration. One thing which I have also observed where organizations really need is the workflow. So it's not that, somebody submits idea and okay, it's ready to go. No, we don't want that. We need a proper workflow where somebody submits, there is an approver who looks at that idea, then it moves to the next stage, etc., etc. So that's where a workflow is already built in, and you can customize this workflow based on your organization. And as I said, it's a very quick to use tool in terms of implementation. Yeah, so Mayank, I have picked up your point. So based on the time, we'll quickly look at how this can be integrated. So yeah. Okay, now going back to the licensing. So this is a standard thing that we get from UiPath, that in terms of using Automation Hub, this is not available in the community or basic trial or basic, but this definitely comes as a standard trial, standard and enterprise version. So this is where, once you get this, you can get started immediately, but happy for, discussion that we can have case by case, and then we can go back to UiPath about how we can get this leverage for the organization. I'll come to this later, but before that, we'll probably go to the actual tool. I'll pause for a minute for anybody to ask a few questions. I just noted a few questions that are ongoing in the chat, but anybody wants to share some personal experience, any question before we actually go to the tool? And feel free to stop me while we are on the tool. So I might not be readily seeing my chats, etc. But yeah, if somebody can just let me know there's a question on the chat, I'll pause and help you answer. So this is one of the license that I have. But if you have the Automation Hub license, so if you go to these 9 dots, it will be on the left hand side, and you can see this under the more. You can click on Automation Hub, and typically you'll get a sign in kind of screen. I've already signed in, and it will give you a tenant which you have to enter to get into that particular tenant. So just to give some of the things, like when you try to enter, you might have got Automation Hub to access for various tenants. So I've got, for example, my organization access, I might have my client access, I might have my personal access. So all of that would be shown, and then you can pick which tenant you want to get so that you can only focus on the ideas within that tenant. So the very first thing is submit an idea. And as I said, we will spend minimal time here because we want to really look at the admin console. So uh, when you're submitting an idea, you've got multiple ways of submitting an idea. And whatever I'm showing currently is customizable. So you pick up a business area. So some of you might think that this is not applicable to my organization. You can very easily change these business areas for your organization. Then this is the business area, and you can have further category under that. And there are different idea types where an employee driven idea can be shared, a COE driven idea can be shared, a citizen developer idea can be shared, and so on. And the reason why there are different ways of submitting an idea is because the workflow of each idea is different. So a COE has more questions to be answered, whereas an employee have got very basic questions. And then from an employee, it always go to a process owner to add more ideas, answers. So from an employee driven idea perspective, as I said, there are very basic questions like if you answer some of these questions, just quickly adding. So it'll ask you the process that you're talking about, is it very straightforward, rule based? You will say yes, no, agree, all those things. So if you strongly agree, so the parameter is starting from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Is the input file accessed digitally, which means that we really need the information to be somewhere digital. And if you know that it is, you can say strongly agree. And most of it at this era, I think we have got things which are digital. Is the data highly formatted? So this is one of the questions that you have to ask yourself if you have seen a very unstructured document or a structured document. That's where you have to answer it. So there are typically three types of document: structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. So that's where you would answer this. A structured document is which is almost same every time. So just to give you an example from Australia, like if it is an ATO document, which would be typically a very structured document, which anybody who's using either me or somebody, it's a structured document. A semi-structured is like an invoice, which can vary from organization to organization, but there are typical fields that we all know are linked to that. And then a unstructured document is any handwritten document, if we can say. So that's how you have to answer. If the process changes in 6 months, etc. If the documents are like, if you have got any existing documents, you answer all of that. And that's it. So that's to an employee. So you just pick one person. So I'll pick myself, for example, here, and then submit this idea. And that's it for an employee. And then to an employee, it will show some score on the left-hand side after saving this. Yeah, so this is how it is. So it says that idea score, which means that how good is your idea in terms of candidate for automation, how suitable it is in terms of all the aspects, typically from a readiness as well as the idea perspective. So these are just a quick start point for anybody to understand, okay, my idea is good to get started or not. Sometimes, so these scores are typically tied to how you've answered the questions in terms of whether your data is digital, whether your data is really structured, unstructured. So this score will really vary. If you say that, oh, I strongly disagree that my data is digital, the score would really go down, which means you have to first go change your process and then look at it in submitting ideas. We'll quickly touch upon the COE driven idea because that is mostly used by people who are from this industry, I would say. So you would have a lot of questions here. I'll not want to really enter each of the question because I want to talk about the other aspects. Anybody who has not seen this form, I'm still happy to fill this one quickly. I did a session last year, so happy for you to go back to that particular session and look at it. Any questions? So we'll quickly talk about some of them. So this is just an overview of where you have to give the name of the automation. You have to describe that idea. You have to give the pain points that you have in that particular automation. So that's an overview. In terms of details of each and every aspect, you have to tell the reason why you're automating it. Is it more cost that you want to save? You want to improve the errors that you're getting in that particular process, or you want to improve the productivity? So once you answer that, then it will ask you how stable is the process. So typically, if a process is changing after 6 months, it's not a good candidate to automate it now because it's a rework that you would have when the process has actually stabilized. So it would be better that you wait for the process to completely change and then you focus on the automation. If your applications are changing, not a good idea. Like, for example, just to give you an example, you're working on SAP today and your process really changes into another application after a couple of months. You've already spent some time automating it and your application changes completely. Not an ideal situation to automate it. Then it will ask you about this employee profile, and why this is used is to actually calculate how much benefit you will get out of this particular automation. So my personal experience, I usually write 250 days per year from an Australian standpoint, and I typically think India is also same. But if you're in other parts of the world, this might be very close to 250 days per year. Working hours per day also ranges from around 7.5 to 9, depending on where you are in the world. So I'm just giving you an example so that you can quickly start working on that. Average employee full-time cost really varies again. So you can probably, from an Australian standpoint, I typically start with like 70K per year to maybe 100K, depending on wherever. And then it also depends on which department it is. So some of the departments might have a higher employee cost and some might have a lower cost. So this all is required to actually calculate the benefit. Next thing is to understand the volume. So when you add the volume, a process can be a daily volume, a weekly volume. So wherever you select, you have to then further give the exact volume. And then the exact volume can be at two ways. Is it at a per company level or is it a per employee level? So then you give the actual volume, very important field to calculate entire automation potential. So it should be as close as possible to the real volume. How many employees are performing this task? This particular field, you can actually tell the number of people who are part of the team. You can say 5, but this is not the exact number that is used to calculate how much of the benefit it would be, because then it will also consider that, whether you're giving a per volume across the company or you're giving employees. So that would be considered already. It's a built-in formula that is used. Average processing time is the time that you would give for each transaction. Very important is, if you're giving the transaction at a daily level, the average processing time should be at the same level. So there are certain important instructions that are provided to each field, which you can actually use to understand what each of them actually means. If there is an error, you can provide the error rate, you can provide how much of rework is there. If typically you don't see too much rework, you can say 0%, but I say at least 5% because that's how much of error we typically see. So 5% is what I usually write by default. Then the next aspect in this particular assessment is understanding how a process is worked. So process peaks is whether this process changes on a regular period. It is more predictable. So typically, if you're looking at any F&A kind of process, it's a predictable peak of volume going higher towards the end of the month or end of the quarter or end of the year. So that's how it is. But sometimes some of the processes you can't really predict. So based on that, you can answer that. How this is useful is, this would really help you calculate how much bots you need. So if I only predict based on a generic volume, I don't give space on the peaks. So if I think about one bot is only covering like maybe 500 transactions in a day, at the end of the month, there are 1,000 transactions the bot cannot process. So that's where you have to take care of peaks as well. The next thing is how many steps are there in each process. So you have to also work on that. And then sometimes same process can be done in one way, same process can be done in multiple ways, and that's where you would add this data. I already touched upon this aspects about how much is the data digital. So in the first employee-driven idea, it's more just to say yes, no, strongly agree, disagree. Here it's more percentage. So if you say that my idea is 100% digital input, so that's where you give those percentages. You can change it. Scanned data input is yes and no. So if you see there's a scanned document within your idea, you have to say accordingly. And once you have answered
Hello.
that, then yeah, tell me.
Answer.
Sorry, somebody can you put on mute? And then you can answer what is the percentage of this structured digital data. And then you also provide what are these applications. So once you have given everything, I'll show you an existing idea in my assessment, and this will actually calculate all these things. What is the automation potential, which means that how good this process is to be automated. It can be 100%, 99%, etc. How easy it is to be implemented, like in terms of technical feasibility, is it easy, medium, or complex? How much hours this save per company? How much dollar value you can save? And you can actually change the currencies as well per different geographies and countries. So it's as of now by default US, but if you want to change it to any other currency, you can change it. Then it'll tell you how much of a benefit it is per company for each FT. Then it'll tell you how much of a benefit it is per employee, and so on and so forth. And then finally, you assign a person who would actually approve this idea from a submission standpoint. As I said, I will quickly show an existing idea so that we can touch more upon the admin console. So I'll go back to my workspace. I'll leave this page. And for example, I'll pick up this onboarding of a new employee. And you can see here all these KPIs attached to this one. So idea score is 92%, readiness score is 90%, suitability is 93. A great idea to be automated. It's in the green space. And then you've got all the other parameters that I spoke about for this particular process. So this is very handy in terms of presenting business case to your stakeholders to get started. Apart from that, there are a few more tabs. So I spoke about assessment. Now, the next tab is cost benefit analysis, where you can actually deep dive and add some cost values so that you can understand, okay, that was my benefit and that's my actual cost of delivering this particular idea. So by default, this ease of implementation is provided based on what answers you give. It can be easy, medium, and difficult, and then you can change it. So as of now, it said easy, but you can also change it. This is another place you can actually create your project plan. So you can say that my analysis would start from this period to that period. Design would be, this is your baseline in each step of your development life cycle. And then you can track your actual as well. So that's where you would add the actual start date and end time, and it will calculate how much actually it took time and what is the delta as compared to your baseline. All these things are something which I'll talk about the admin console, where you can add who's the RPA vendor, what kind of automation it is. So volume is picked up from my previous assessment. All this is calculated, and then this is from before where human was doing this, and this is after automation, like if a robot is doing, how much is the automation potential, how much a bot would handle and how much a human being would handle after the process is automated. And from a cost perspective, as I said, you can actually give phase by phase that in analysis, I need one developer and he or she is allocated for 100%, how many days, and this cost is picked up from the admin console. So you can add it for each stage so that you understand what is my cost for each phase. Uh, so that was your implementation cost. Then you move on and add your software, which is your license cost. So as I said, this is UiPath. I've added in the admin console. So you can say this is my cost, and it'll auto populate it from the admin console. If you want, you can add more line items, and you can edit this in terms of what is that particular vendor. For now, I have only added one vendor. So that's the reason it is only showing one. You can add as many as you want in terms of the RPA cost. Then the next one is software, other softwares. So not necessarily you pay only for the RPA, you might be paying for other licenses. So that's where you will select all the others. I've not added, so it will not add to any of the cost, any support costs, any infrastructure costs. So all those costs are something that you will add here, and then you save it to say that this is your cost that you are adding to your automation. Then this is the documentation repository I was talking about. So you can add all the different documents that you have, PDD, SDD, everything. So this is like a one-stop place where you can host all your documents. These are the different reusable components, which means that as part of your automation, if you have used any components or if you want to create new components, you can put all of it here. Uh, Collaborators are the people who are attached to this particular application or idea. So you can actually add different people, who's an idea submitter, who's a process owner, who's a project manager. So you can just add multiple roles so that anybody who goes to this idea knows who's the person or the right person in terms of understanding this idea, develop this idea. So you have got a even a developer role, etc., that you can tag if there is a change request that goes in here, etc. So this is more of an assessment. And I'll again pause for a minute so that then I can move to the admin console, which was the focus area of this particular session. So this admin console is a console where you can actually create or change different things like whatever I showed in terms of assessment, cost, etc. So this is like a platform setup you can have. So when you click, there are multiple things, and I'll focus on the most important ones as part of Automation Hub. So the very first thing when you go to any organization, they might say that, okay, we have got a default category, but that doesn't apply to us. Can you add a different category into an idea submission stage? Yes, you can do that. So what you would do is you will get into this particular module and then you will click on use editor. And then you can add, for example, a new uh, business area. So you save it. Under that, I want to add within supply chain management, maybe another ABC category. You save it. Then you create another subcategory, which may be, XYZ. So then in that case, the first point where I had the drop downs, these categories would be shown and I can pick up from that. Why these categories are important from an organization perspective is because they want to understand which department has more ideas, which department is giving me more benefits in terms of automations that I'm doing, and you can save it. So it's a very easy console to configure different categories for the organizations. Once it is saved, I'll move to the next one. The next one is app inventory. So when I was showing the assessment form, there is a drop down where you have to enter which application you are using. So you can actually add new applications per business area. So if I want to add, I'll click here. Yeah. And then I would say my application is only in the new area that I created. And I'll, for example, say Coupa. You can say which version it is, what language it is, etc. And when I save it, this would go and show it in my assessment. So this is not saved, for example. Okay, it's giving me errors for all the different ones which were already existing. So I have to go and edit those versions. But I've already added this one, which is now visible in my drop downs in the assessment. So that's on the application. Moving on to documentation. So in the idea, we've got a documentation tab, and some of the documents already exist there for people to view. And this console is not visible to everybody. It is only for an admin to change. And that's the reason whatever you actually make change here is visible to the other people who have got the access to the Automation Hub. So you can upload a PDD template, you can upload a STD template. By default, there's a template that is prescribed by UiPath, but if different organizations have got different templates, you can go and host it here so that everybody uses the same template and it's more standardized in terms of how we take care of our design or in fact requirement gathering, etc. Moving on, quickly just checking if there is any question, because customized assessments is slightly deeper, because that's where you can actually change the assessment that I was showing, how you can change the different questions, how you can actually customize it more from different team perspective. I'll just quickly check if I've got a chat. Anybody wants to share anything from their aspects?
Uh, Sonali, I just have a one question. This is on the change request that we can see in, say, one of the automation idea. Right. So we have Jira. We use Jira. Right. So how do we connect Jira to one of the automation idea where basically change request comes into picture? Even say bugs, change request, such. Could you help us
Yeah,
understand
sure.
that?
So that's at the end. So I'll come to that. So there's a Jira connection you can make. So I'll finish all that and come to that, if that's fine.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That,
So that's the same question which Mayank asked. I think, Rupa, you're asking about what are the key performance metrics available in UiPath Automation Hub. So I've touched upon those aspects where you can actually track the volume, and then it'll tell you how much of the automation potential is, how much of rework is. So all those are different KPIs. And then we have got dashboards where you can actually see those KPIs. So you can actually add different KPIs also that you want to use for a different organization in terms of not just seeing benefits per company or hours. That's already existing. That's by default, the one which I showed on the right hand side. Does AH allow? Yes, it does, Anupama. So it does allow customization of idea lifecycle. I'll come to that, which is under the customize idea flows. I'll come to that. So yeah, Pranav already answered that. So I'll come to that part just after this. Uh, Moving on. So the first thing that we saw, which is the assessments, it's pretty customizable. So what you have to do is, for example, let me pick up a new version. So we've got different things. Either you want to start a complete new assessment, you want to copy an existing one, you want to start with something which is default suggested by Automation Hub, or you want to upload something from your site. But if you have to upload, there would be a template which would be prescribed. So if I say, if I want to copy it from the existing one, and I want to copy it from maybe this template. So I'll copy and create this one. Now this is a default template I've copied, but I now can make changes to this one. So some of the sections are not editable. So you can't delete the section. So you can't really change the section that has to be there, which is about. So you would not be able to change it. Uh, at automation name is something which you can change, but you can't delete it. So if you actually delete this, I'm sorry, no, you can't delete it, which means that if you change the name from something else, that's possible. So it will be appearing in that particular section with a different name that you answer. So how you actually add those things. So if you have to add a new question, so you click on new question and say, uh, can you describe a to be solution? Sorry, to be solution. So this is not a question which is existing. So you're adding it now. Now, on the right hand side, there are a few things you have to tag the new question to. This is the description where the people would actually answer, and you have to give a variable type. So this is a variable that you would always add in caps, because sometimes you have to use these answers in some calculations. So you can easily use these variable names to calculate different KPI aspects. So I would say to be solution. So as I said, it has to be in caps. In the settings, you have to say whether it's a mandatory field, whether you want to show comment section, you want to pre-fill answers, etc. So that's where you have to select how you want to show this particular field. Uh, Visible is where this should be visible. It should be hidden from everybody. It should be hidden from submission forms, from about pages. So you can just select, how you want to really show this particular question. From a sensitivity point of view, if this question is pretty sensitive in terms of everybody should not know about it, maybe if it is cost related or something, you can actually tag it where it should be shown and who can actually see it, in terms of whether it's a change request assessment, it's something which only an executive should see, etc. And then in this, if you select table, so then it will be shown all these question, description, and variable name would be shown in the form of a table. Otherwise, it will be the same how I showed, like one after the other. And a couple of more things. Yeah, let's talk about question type. So when you add a question, you can add how you want people to answer it, whether it should be a free text, it should be a number. A range number is where you say that, okay, the people can add only 1 to 100, for example. It's a percentage, single choice, multiple choice. So these are the different values you can actually add for that particular question. So that's how you can actually change this. And if you go to UiPath documentation, you would have step-by-step ways to change your assessment. So then you have got opportunity to also add new KPIs. So as you were asking, Rupa, there are default KPIs, but if you want to add more KPIs for your business, you can add that. So very, very handy console for changing assessments. Somebody asked about idea flows. Let's talk about it. So let me just move on to the next one. So there are already existing flows in Automation Hub for each type of idea that is submitted. So for example, I want to change a COE driven idea in terms of how it is to be flowing. So how it looks like is that it has shown me phases and status of each COE driven idea. And how you read it is the top one, which is in bold, is the phase, and then it is the different statuses. So by default, submission has got only initial status. And in transition, it shows that from initial, where you can actually move your automation idea to. So that's where it is showing 1 to 1. And you can actually change it by unselecting it, or even adding more what you want to. Actually, you have to first customize it. And then this is showing each of the phase. So from initial, if you wanted to move to not started, you can click here. You can, add multiple ones here. So for initial, you can only move it to 1 and you can change it. If it is assessment, again, when you link it uh, from non-started, it will show you where all it flows. So it can go to in progress, it can go to archived, it can go to awaiting review. And if you want to change it, you can change it based on where it should go. And if you want to make it easy for you to view, you can actually show only link transactions. So it will only show where it is. But then if you have to change, you want to see different ones as well. So that's how you actually change each phase and status of the idea. Anupama, does that answer your question, or you wanted to go more in detail about it?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah,
Saloni.
thanks. Harpreet, you have a question?
Yes, Lali. So one more question. Can we add a sub process in this idea? Like if it is a big process, can we also add a sub process in it during I think assessment itself. Like some things which are maybe have been like we thought like could not be taken up, but like we can add it up in later or something like that.
So when you say sub process, are you saying like, for example, there is an overall process as invoice processing, and then you want to tag sub processes within that process into the same idea?
Correct. Like something invoicing which will be uh some finance related or some payments of the invoices, something like that. Like so
See, if it
can
is a
that be
different
added or
idea,
it will be go in a change request?
see, there are multiple ways. It should go under change request, or you can actually add it as a separate idea. I have to see actually, is there, I have not really experienced it that you can add a sub process into an idea as a linked process. Let me come back to you, Harpreet, and check if that's something which is
No.
feasible. Yeah, I'll definitely
Yeah,
research and get
thanks.
back to you on that one.
Thank you.
I'm just conscious of time because we just want to do a quick quiz after this. So now we have looked at idea flows. We're looking at cost setup. So as I said, in the cost benefit stage, you've got multiple places where you can set up the different software vendor. So this is the place where you just show the vendor name so that you can set up like we've got UiPath and Microsoft. But if you have to add values to that, then you have to go and add it in the running cost of RPA software. So that's where you will add the UiPath Microsoft cost in terms of the different licenses, etc. So this is the cost setup. Um, then moving on, we have got import pipeline. So this is where, if you don't want to add new idea one by one, you can actually download a CSV template and add bulk ideas together into Automation Hub. The only thing is you have to follow a specific template to add that idea. So if you download it and then upload that back, you would see that all the ideas are automatically added to Automation Hub without you adding each idea. And so on. Now, looking at the Jira connection, what you have to do is, first of all, you have to get a Jira workspace URL into that, and then you have to actually authenticate Jira. So if you would follow this step by step, it will be very easy. But yes, in terms of how you actually do it, it is available in documentation, but I'm more than happy to have a separate call with those who are interested to have a Jira connection. And then we can talk about it only about the Jira aspect. But if you go to this one in terms of Jira connection, you can add your Jira aspect, and then you can add those ideas here from Jira directly into Automation Hub. So there's an integration which is available by default. Yeah. So I'll probably stop sharing in terms of demo and we'll move on to the quiz. And if you want to find any more details, so I wanted to cover the admin console quick assessment in terms of how it is, actually added by people in terms of their ideas. That's what we wanted to cover. I already did a dashboard session last year, but just to quickly touch upon, these are the 4 existing dashboards in Automation Hub. So program performance is basically just to show you how the program is actually evolving in terms of what are those different ideas, how much of the benefit it is giving. Average automation cost is in terms of if you want to see how much is my cost, which we added in terms of the cost benefit aspect, that this is the cost of my idea. So it can be seen with different phases so that you can see. Planning report is more in terms of entire automation ideas in terms of what is the baseline cycle as well as the actual cycle time. And finally, we've got cost report, which is idea specific, how much of cost is associated with each idea, etc. So that's how these dashboards are. So I'll go back and stop for a minute before we can get into something interesting about the quiz. Rupa, no, Automation Hub is not available for community users, but we can talk about it, how it can be used. I will track some of the questions that have been asked on this chat so that I can get back to you with the answers. Okay. Now, I'll just spend 2 minutes on one of the things which is very useful for everybody. So, if you would have been following some of the UiPath notifications. So UiPath is running a community certification program. So those of you who would like to get certified and would like to get some free certification vouchers. So what you do is there is a program. You can go and uh, if you will search, you would actually see a page something like this. And then there are certifications that are opening one by one. So currently there is one certification which is on test engineering professional, which is open now. So there is a learning plan attached to each certification. So if you take that learning plan and you score more than 70, you have a chance to get a free voucher. If you score between 50 to 70, you have a 50% of discount. So everybody can actually explore this and you can track this in terms of which certification you are interested in so that you can join the waitlist and get some free vouchers from UiPath. So we did the demo, we'll move to the quiz and uh, everybody, if you can scan this QR code, we have got some interesting vouchers where you can actually buy swags. So let me know when we can get started. I'll give probably 1 or 2 minutes for everybody to get into this and then I'll pop up the questions.
While you're waiting, Selene, just a quick question.
Yeah.
The automation, when we present the automation hub to the end user, what does it look? Does it just look like the form in UiPath? It's not a separate web form or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a form in the UiPath, but then you can only give them access to Automation Hub. It's not everything that they need to see. They can only see the Automation Hub
Yeah.
within the UiPath. Yeah.
So they'll just get the they'll just get the contextual information just for the input form essentially to capture the opportunity. That's cool. Thanks. Just gone on mute. You're on mute, Selene.
I'm so sorry. I was saying that I used Mentimeter for the first time today. I've been using Kahoot, so let's see how this is. So yeah, the answer is to crowdsource, evaluate, and manage automation ideas. Let's look at the second one. Which of the following roles can submit automation ideas in Automation Hub? You can see those answers and you can pick the right one. Great. So as I think, Michael, you've been asking, anybody whom we invite into Automation Hub can actually submit automation ideas. It's not specific to any role. Then let's go for the next one. What is the error estimation tool in Automation Hub used for? Is it for tracking bot performance? Is it to calculate business and automation benefits? Or it's to assign project timelines and either to create task capture? No. We know it all, calculating business and automation benefits. What framework does Automation Hub use to evaluate automation ideas? Is it RISE score, PDD score, t-shirt size, or idea score? This is acting a little different, I know. Okay, some of them answered correctly, but some of them did say t-shirt size. Are you guys seeing this answers on your system, on your mobile? What are the key stages of an automation idea in Automation Hub? I think most of you answered correctly. That's great. Let's move on to the next one. Automation Hub is best integrated with which of the following UiPath tools for end-to-end pipeline management? You guys are great. Those of you who said AI Center and document understanding, no, it's not integrated. It's typically with task capture and process mining, so you can bring some automation ideas from there. What type of user can access the admin console in Automation Hub? So I answered it. It's not to everybody. There have to be specific permissions that need to be given to access admin console. Perfect. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following can be customized from an admin console? Cool. Everybody gave it right. And it's about how quick you are as well. Let's see who's the winner. Oh my God, looks like everybody is the winner. It's Casper. Casper, you did a good job. Casper, can you just say hi?
Yeah, Saloni. Hi, this is Akshay.
Great,
That's
Casper.
yeah.
Oh, that's your, it's
No, that's my
Akshay.
community name. Yeah.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you mind sharing your email ID with me on the chat, and I'll send you some vouchers and you can buy some swags?
Happy to.
Great, congratulations. Probably I have a few questions, I know, which I can see on the chat. I'll look at them one by one and answer. But before we close, anything else anybody wants to share? Any quick wrap-up questions, any comments, etc.? I hope this was a useful session. Automation Hub is actually pretty detailed. Like, I still want to cover most of it in 1 hour, but there are a lot of small modules. So that's where I'm trying to break it. Like last year, we did more on the assessment. This year, I did more on admin console. I have to get back to people on the Jira connections. We'll have a detailed session. But yes, happy for you to share any of your things that you want to learn, and we can have the sessions. See you all for next 2 days, which is on the process mining and task mining sessions. And thanks a lot for joining this one.
Thanks, Lonnie.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a
Bye.
good rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, man.